Hi there, welcome to Bitcoin Cash Wyckoff Technical Analysis session. So Bitcoin Cash has been following its downtrend for 2 consecutive weeks already, and the dip is pretty deep. So what's happening with Bitcoin Cash and where it's heading? Let's find out by looking at both the daily and weekly charts. If you're new to my sessions, these are the key takeaways you can expect. I'll share the current and coming Wyckoff stages, the key resistance and support levels, and also the breakout timing if it's indicated by the price movements. And obviously for Bitcoin Cash, there's one we can see from the daily chart. Let's start with the weekly chart for now. So previously I put in a bunch of question marks asking, is the blue scenario really the case, or is it the yellow scenario that's going on? As of this moment, I would say the blue is still the more favorable one, that I think it's really is the case, and is, I would say, a bit sad, because if you have been following, you know what I'm gonna say, but if you're new, see this pink box over here, right? It basically is a downward trending box, a mega trend that started at this point, April 2024. You see the buying climax afterwards in December last year, and also the climax we had, either it's the buying climax or the upthrust, it doesn't matter, because that ended right below the ceiling of the box. So this mega trend seems to be confirmed by the price movements that we're having. So long as the Bitcoin Cash price continues to move along this trend, that's going to cap your return on investment. If this is the long-term trend that's like before any breakout happens. So as steep as it went in 2022-2023, the max it climbed up to the point over there. It's too high up. Let me shrink a little. So from this point to the tip, that was 666.6% almost, many sixes. And then if the price do come down back to a similar level, like just use this time, it dropped by 10% to around like not even 600% rise. So imagine when the time goes on, every half a year or every year we get to a peak like that. Let's say take an average every 9 months. So the next time it happens, it will be around middle of 2026. So when that happens, that becomes like mid 500. So another almost another 10% drop from like peak after peak. So that's the indication or implication of this downward trend. So in previous weeks I have been talking about this, saying we don't hope that this is the case, and that's why all these question marks. And now it seems that it's been confirmed. It's time to remove these question marks, because this seems to be really is the case, that this current distribution cycle is at least coming to the middle stage, if not the end stage. So the upthrust of the distribution, there was 20% chance. I'll still keep this 20% chance over here, while the preliminary support, meaning the early stage of an accumulation cycle, is still getting its higher probability. The yellow scenario basically is non-existent now that we've got this long leg downwards. If it hasn't happened, it's only sideways trading, I would have kept this yellow scenario. But now it's time to get rid of it. So here, the sign of weakness didn't even happen. The price fell straight below. Yeah, no bouncing over here, so that we only had one sign of weakness earlier. I don't want to go here, I just want to change it back. Yeah, well, you can see this dip, this wick over here is another one, but then it doesn't matter. So what can happen next? It can rebound from the orange key level and set us another last point of supply before going through the preliminary support period. So this is like a process along the path. Okay, so that's the big picture. Just to quickly check the Bollinger Band corner squeeze before we get to the daily. So currently the purple line is getting into the top orange line. The one at the bottom has already entered, meaning a squeeze is very likely to happen in the next week. And that was what happened here, and we've got a continuous swing upwards. This happened here, and we've got these big swings afterwards. So whenever a squeeze happens, we see these bigger price swings. So if this time we have this kind of like squeeze happening, that would probably continue the swing, and the current trend of it looks like it doesn't look good. Basically, the orange line is heading towards here, so it can follow that direction and swing further down towards like one of those key levels. The orange currently is already being tested, the red is at 380, and then this center line of the long-term playground zone, this white box, let's change it to a dashed line so we know it's not the do I have two lines over here? Yes. Yeah, so not to mistaken, this is the boundary of the box, this is the center line. So another level at around $330 for Bitcoin Cash before it comes down to challenge the bottom edge of the pink mega downtrend that I shared from the very beginning. But this is not the absolute low. It may provide support, but no body is able to stop the price to getting all the way down to the bottom edge of the long-term playground zone. So multiple supports before this happens, but be prepared that it can. So that's the big picture. Not very optimistic, I know, but let's prepare for the worst if it really happens. We still have a 20% chance for the price to come back up to challenge at least the green level, right? It's not 100% bad news, but the upside definitely is getting a slimmer chance. Okay, now the daily chart, this LPOSY has happened, so we put in these tags like ahead of time, because in daily time frame the Wyckoff stages happens much quicker. In just 2-3 days we can have 2 stages. Okay, I'm just quickly checking. We may be entering the preliminary support, and the key thing over here is what happened yesterday, that it dipped below the orange key level. It tested it, successfully recovered, the bulls pushed it out, but just to end up today being pushed down again. The key thing here is, even though the price has gone back to above the orange key level, it has fallen deeper than this downtrend, meaning the price fall has sharpened. So it's time to adjust the slope of the box. So previously it was more mild, but after the dip last Friday and the second test towards the downside on Saturday, what happened yesterday and what's going on today is showing us this is now the new slope of the drop. The downward trend has just gone steeper than before. Yeah, I know, another bad news, but it is what it is. We have to adjust accordingly. It's much steeper. It's almost like getting into a tangent with this uptrend previously. It's interesting when we talked about Ripple earlier, that was like an exact tangent going downwards. Now it's getting towards something similar for Bitcoin Cash as well. So this intermediate level has been broken as well. So that's where the rejection is, both from the previous downtrend bottom and also this green line. Oh, I've forgotten one thing. Let's duplicate this box because I have forgotten to show you what happened earlier. Let's use gray. Oh no, actually not a good idea, not very clear. Let's use yellow for now. So previously we have our box right here, right? Okay, the tips, and here there is actually a time point at the end of the month. So that's what I was talking about in the title of the video. This time point, by the end of this month, Friday, October 31st, sometime before that, if the price is still trading within this triangle, a breakout will eventually happen. So anytime from now till that point, within these 2 weeks, is probably going to break and confirm that it's going to go lower than the orange key level of around $450. Okay, that's one possibility. The other possibility is that it bounces up and challenges the ceiling of this new like steeper box. So if it happens, it's somewhere around $500 according to like when it happens. If it happens sooner, it can go as high as 530 before seeking rejection either from the yellow key level or together like both resistances, the ceiling of the blue box and also the yellow key level. So let's change this to a thinner box and maybe a different color. So we know it was the previous downtrend and now we're just entering a steeper downtrend. So if it breaks below the orange, what would happen, right? Obviously this will continue with the confirmation that we are re-entering an accumulation cycle. Whether it's going to go as deep as what happened in March or April this year, only when you will get to that point we'll know. But the current progression is definitely heading towards that accumulation cycle. So let's extend this renewed trend box. So after the preliminary support, obviously there will be the selling climax. So depending on whether it's going to get to this low point, so we have two references. One was July last year, the other was February this year. They differ by just a little if we are looking at the lowest point for the selling climax, but the spring itself in April this year went to as low as $247 or $48. That's over 220 or around $220 from where we are. So be careful if the price really dips quickly. So last time it happened in February. In just a few days it dropped almost 40%. So from current point, if it really drops 40%, yeah, it will certainly hit a similar level. yeah, just thinking out loud what kind of worst case scenario that we are facing. Then to the positive side, while this has a higher possibility, the upside, okay, may not be an upwards of the distribution immediately, maybe just a second test. So meaning it rebound, but it has to break multiple resistance. First the ceiling of this downtrend, then the yellow key level, and eventually the top edge or the ceiling of the long-term playground zone before it can come back to challenge the green key level of around $620 or $650. We're roughly around that range. So for Bitcoin Cash, just to recap, the bigger question is actually not whether it's coming down or not. Is this mega trend that seems to be being confirmed? So if Bitcoin Cash is really coming down and you still enjoy the fact that there's a possibility of a 200% increase, like basically your return on your investment or speculation, there's still room to play with, but there are other alternatives, right? So let's see how far this trend would go, and hope it eventually will show us a breakout in the next